So the name of my company is Life at the Table, right? It is not life in the kitchen. I am here to help you make short work of what goes on in the kitchen so that you can spend the quality time that you need to create community. So here is my top 10 list of pantry essentials. And I'm going to do this David Letterman style from 10 to 1. Are you guys familiar with David Letterman? He's really the guy that came up with that top 10 list. So when you go back, because I was like, where did this idea of top 10 list come from? And it was David Letterman. For those of you who are too young to remember David Letterman, very, very funny late night show comedian, always had a top 10 list on his show. So number 10, I'm not sure that you can see that out there, oats. So this is oats. I always have oats in my pantry. And you're like, well, I get tired of having a bowl of oatmeal. Oats is so much more. I use oats as a topping for a fruit crisp, or I make a strawberry crumble with oats. And then I put oats in my meatloaf as opposed to using breadcrumbs. I think I love the texture that the oats give the meatloaf. So that's number 10. Number 9, seeds and nuts. I always have seeds and nuts on hand. So this is walnuts. I also have sesame seeds, pistachios, pecans. I know almonds. Almonds is another big one. I love to eat notes. That was nuts and oats together. I love to eat nuts as a snack. They make great snacks, plus so many dishes that you can use to put some nuts and seeds in for wonderful health benefits. Now, I always suggest that you toast your nuts before you add them to a dish, 350 degrees, 10 minutes, set a timer. Start that timer maybe at 8 minutes, and then let those nuts warm up. They release these oils that enhance their flavor. You will love it. All right. Let's see, 10, 9, 8, flour, simple flour. Make homemade tortillas, homemade pizza to thicken a sauce, obviously all the baking that you may do in your house. So this is all-purpose flour. For those of you who are gluten-free, I am not here selling brands, but I wanted to show you this because I do get asked this question a lot. This is called Measure for Measure by King Arthur. It's an alternative flour. It has everything in here for you to use it just like flour, no additives necessary. Because all of those alternative flours are wonderful, but you have to have additives in there that replace the gluten. This has all of that built in. All right, number 7, rice and grains, right? Okay, what? Somebody loves rice. You will always have rice. So many dishes that you can either highlight rice, like jambalaya, right? Or dishes that you can pour rice over, like curries, like shrimp creole, etc. Always have rice. I do have 2 other grains here. Well, actually, this is another grain. So this is white rice. This is arborio rice. It's a short grain rice. This is a long grain rice. I use arborio rice to make risotto. Super easy, y'all. Some of these dishes you might think, oh, complicated. Not. And then this is quinoa, a superfood. And so that's another one. All right. So we have next beans, all kinds of beans, canned and dried. Have them on hand. You can make a salad with them. I have a wonderful white bean dip that I use those canned beans are super simple to do. All right, pasta, all shapes and sizes. Of course, if you're gluten-free, you can gluten-free pasta. Tomatoes. I have all kinds of tomatoes. And the one thing I brought today was tomato paste. So a lot of us buy tomato paste in those cans, and then the recipe calls for a tablespoon, and you're like, what do I do with the rest of this? So buy the tube, and then once I open it, I store it in my refrigerator. But then I have all kinds of tomatoes, whole tomatoes, crushed tomatoes, tomato sauce, tomato puree, so much that you can make with tomatoes. All right, we're getting towards the end here. So number 3, vinegars. Y'all, I have a collection of vinegars that probably would rival my wine collection. Vinegar is amazing. So, and we can talk more about vinegars when we do a salad class upcoming. And then number 2 would be oils. This happens to be olive oil, but I recommend, this is extra virgin olive oil. Also 3 oils I have in my kitchen: olive oil, avocado oil, and peanut oil. So I cook with peanut or fry with peanut oil, sear with avocado oil, and then anything that's kind of a low temperature saute, olive oil. But those are the 3 that I have in my kitchen. I do have some coconut oil. I don't really cook with it so much. A lot of people do enjoy it. Um, and then lastly, anybody know salt? This is kosher salt. So I know a lot of you are going to go, why kosher salt? I will talk more about kosher salt in our session on pan searing and why I only cook with kosher salt. Now, this is my top 10, right? I can't count backwards. So I kind of stopped there in the middle, but there are 10 categories of items here. And after the session, Danielle is going to post the links to these items on my website and those links also include suggested recipes. So you will have a lot to explore with just these recipes. Now, really quick, I want to talk about 3 tools you need in your kitchen. First tool, and I will count down backwards, number 3, cutting board. Now, this is a small one, and I have several cutting boards that I use. This is bamboo. Okay, for the home cook, I recommend wood, bamboo, or acacia wood. Right? I don't recommend plastic. When we work in the restaurants, yes, the government requires us to have plastic, and so we use plastic. But guess what? Plastic harbors bacteria. Doesn't matter. You can put it through a dishwasher. It harbors bacteria. Guess what? Wood is naturally antimicrobial, right? I do wash these boards. I do keep them, moisturized with some food grade mineral oil, but I always cook on wood or bamboo. And I have 3 or 4 different sizes. I didn't bring my really dark walnut board. It's really thick. It's my favorite one. But then, maybe I'm cutting on my big board. And then I have this board here that I might do chicken on, right? And I have that off on another part of my counter. And then I'll wash it, let it dry. You are golden. All right. So that's 3. Number 2 would be cast iron skillet. Y'all, cast iron skillets are the original nonstick. If you treat them right, they will last forever. I have 3 or 4 cast iron skillets, one of which was my great grandmother's. My great grandmother's. This I will pass down to my children and grandchildren. That's how durable these things are. You can do so much in a cast iron skillet. Of course, yes. Do I have stainless steel cookware? Absolutely, I do. But cast iron is my everyday go-to. We're going to talk more about cast iron in upcoming sessions. I'm going to teach you how to pan sear, have a home cooked or a restaurant quality meal on a home budget by pan searing your proteins. So you're going to want to come to that session that's upcoming. And then the number 1 tool that you need in your kitchen, chef's knife. You cannot cut anything with a skinny chef's knife, steak knife, right? You've got to have a proper chef's knife to cut well. So what is this proper chef's knife? 8 to 10 inches on the blade. That's what you're looking for. And our next session is all about knife skills. I'm going to show you how to hold this knife, how to keep this knife sharp. And then I'm going to show you several cutting techniques that will help you make short work of chopping onions. and chopping bell peppers and supreming an orange or a grapefruit for some, special dessert. So a chef's knife is a must. Now, one last tool that I put on my list, and it's simply this. Who knows what this is? It's a bench scraper, right? What is a bench scraper used for in the kitchen? What is it? I don't know. I see people doing this. Okay. All right. So, bench scraper. Why does it have the name bench scraper? Well, because in the bake shop, they manipulate dough with this tool. So they cut dough, they manipulate it, they pick it up, and they move it. But I cannot get started unless I have a bench scraper. Because let's say I have a bunch of onions on this cutting board and I need to get those onions into this cast iron skillet. I'm going to, and then pick them up off my board and then put them into my skillet, right? This thing is invaluable because otherwise, and I know you've all seen it, what do? You chop, oh, it needs to go over here. And then you go straight and then pick it up. And look at this area here. You don't have as much area as you do with this bench scraper. And then guess what? You have worked so hard to keep this knife sharp. And then what do? Scrape along the board just to pick up your onions. So a bench scraper is sort of a bonus tool. So that, cutting board, a cast iron skillet, and a good chef's knife is all you need to be able to put dinner on the table any night of the week. So we've got here our top 10 pantry ingredients. And then you've got your 3 tools.